Adam.
Yo.
Question.
Yes.
Out or in?
Out. Wait. In. I'm Adam Maness.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear podcast.
Daily jazz advice coming at you.
Coming at you again from beautiful St. Louis, Missouri, open studio. Here we are in the pod cave. It's usually musty, but I realized we put this pod cave together in the summertime.
Yeah.
And August in St. Louis is just incredibly hot and humid.
Yeah.
I mean, this past summer especially was just brutal.
Thanks a lot, Al Gore.
Yeah, thank you, Al Gore. But now I got to say, since the weather's turned a little bit,
It's cleared up a little in
it's
here.
cozy.
No, is this the pod cave? Now it's becoming like the pod cove.
The pod cove.
Yeah.
Well, so we've been doing some other stuff in here besides just the podcast, and our audio engineer Andrew said, should we change the name now to the content cave? And I thought, no.
Oh, that's true. No, it's the pod cave.
It's the pod cave.
Pod
It's
cave.
christened
Possible
pod cave, and
That's right.
we'll forever be.
So today we're going to take a question from one of our listeners, as we often do here.
Yeah, this is
in
from
the pod cave at the You'll Hear podcast.
This is from Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Okay.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Facebook. This is from Facebook or from a listener?
Facebook doesn't need any shout outs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. They hear everything we're doing anyway.
That's right.
So.
If you're interested in setting up an account on Facebook, go to facebook.com and tell them we sent you. Okay. So it came via Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I read this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Hey there, guys. Love the podcast. I'm struggling to deal with being comfortable playing outside a diatonic sound. I think I've learned too much pop, and every time I hear those outside notes, even if they are theoretically correct, it just feels wrong. Ha. Any advice?
It's an interesting question. That's from Troy. Thank you, Troy.
Yep.
Really, the advice is number one.
Listen.
We've talked about this before, I think, on the podcast, that what Troy's talking about is dissonance and his comfort level with dissonance.
Yeah.
And that just takes being into, dissonance.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different level of dissonance. I mean, some people, a sharp 9 chord is very dissonant. Yeah,
right,
totally.
Right. Wasn't there a time when if you played the flatted fifth, the interval, the augmented fourth flatted, the tritone, that you could be killed, actually, in medieval times?
You would be arrested, yeah. No, I mean, dissonance...
That takes jazz police to a whole nother level.
Dissonance is relative, and it shifts, generation to generation. Now, noise music has been so prevalent for decades that it's like, what does dissonance even mean anymore, as far as music theory? So it's a very personal thing, dissonance. Even, you and I, in our improvising, both play outside the changes often, but even player to player, it shifts for how much you're comfortable doing it, or what it's part of your thing. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say. And
I think it always should come down to the kind of listening, the on-the-fly listening as you're playing, as you're developing your solo, the situation, like how is the bass player playing, how's the drummer, how is the audience, everything. That you're really actively listening as you're playing to see how much you should play. And it should never be like, okay, I played a chorus, now it's time to take it out. It's not about that. It's about what is the flow of your solo and how you're hearing it. And for the moment, like how much you're going to take it out. But one thing Troy says, just reading this again, every time I hear these outside notes, even if they are theoretically correct, it just feels wrong. Well, this is the thing. They're not correct, actually, which is okay if it sounds good to you.
That's right. That's why we're playing it, because it's building tension. It's not right.
Yeah.
And then I like to resolve it. Now, some people don't even want to resolve it or whatever, and that's cool too, because that's what they're into. But I would say to Troy,
maybe he's not resolving it. Maybe that's part of it. If he's saying it feels wrong, maybe that would be one entry point.
That's a good point, yeah.
So if you play something in and then you play it out, or even if you just go to play something out, where, I think it's important to always think melodically.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go and play out and they just start playing random notes.
Yeah.
And it's that's out, but you still have to, I almost feel like there's more responsibility, depending on the situation, of course, but to really play accurate interesting, cohesive, melodic things when you go out, because that becomes the unifying factor. You don't have the harmony to kind of rest your head on.
That certainly helps anchor it when you go
Yeah.
out, for sure, to have some kind of melodic structure or something. But I'm wondering if, Troy, if you're even into the sound of playing out. Because if you're not feeling it, don't force it just because other people are doing it. You know,
Right.
if you don't want to do it, maybe you're an inside player, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
You know, you don't always have to do that. There are whole careers made where they never go outside the diatonic.
Yeah, and
changes,
depending on
you know?
how you look at it, you could say that somebody like Oscar Peterson,
Totally.
one of our favorites here at the You'll Hear It podcast, does not play outside a lot. Although he does, I mean, and that we hear it. It's just not something that's like a big part of his style. Obviously, he could do it because you heard him do it.
Yeah.
But maybe, one thing about Oscar Peterson, along with a number of great jazz artists, you always get the feeling that they are playing a very high percentage of the notes that are coming out are things that they're hearing.
Yeah.
That is very indicative of their thought process in terms of like the flow of the music. So if he's not playing a lot of outside stuff, it's probably because he wasn't hearing a lot out. It's not because he couldn't do it or he was against it. It was just sort of the way he played.
And if you're not hearing it, you're not going to be confident when you do it.
Yeah.
So that could be a problem too, Troy, that you're not completely confident when you take it outside because you don't have it in your ears, you're not hearing it, it's not something you want to do. If it's just something you're doing just to do, maybe pull back on that until you're really comfortable hearing it first, so that you can have that confidence, because nothing sounds weaker than going outside the diatonic zone when you've been there, but not being confident with it.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Contrived outplaying is not fun.
A professional can play an entire solo outside the changes and it'll be fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they know how to confidently pull off these phrases and make it sound good.
Yeah.
But like if you're not confident with it, you've lost it.
Well, I'm almost thinking of like, a great American football, NFL receiver that catches the touchdown pass and then does a little dance, goes over to the audience, does his thing. And then there's certain other receivers that don't need to be doing that, because when they try it, it's a little bit too forced, which is okay. Just you're getting 6 points either way. But it's not for everybody. You got to be confident, and it cannot be contrived. I mean, even though like the really confident dancers in the NFL, I found out they do practice all that stuff. But like a great improviser, they pull it off in a way that it feels spontaneous. But you see one badly done, it's like, whoa.
It's no good.
It's no good.
Yeah.
You still get the points, but you shouldn't.
Yeah, so I would say if you want this to be a part of your sound, if it's a sound that you like and that you want to be part of you and you're feeling it, maybe, like you said, rehearse it a little more. Make sure to practice playing outside, to get some techniques to do. I mean, we both have talked about many things you can do, whether that's up or down a half step or going minor thirds away in zones like that, or whatever it is that the sound that you are drawn to. Make sure that it's in your fingers in a way that you're not having to think about it too much.
Yeah, and you can definitely, since you're coming from the place of like not really feeling it or hearing it, but you want to have some of it, just do a little bit. You don't have to like you can just do a small percentage, of your solo going out, just here or there. And when you do go out, remember, you're losing the harmonic underpinnings of what's happening in your solo at that moment, which is okay, because that's going to be part of the dramatic thing as you shift back.
Absolutely.
But just remember, since you're losing that, you need to rely more on the melodic and or rhythmic component. So, maybe you're riffing rhythmically, you're taking out, but you're hitting a really strong rhythm and riffing on it and using that as kind of your cohesion in your solo. Or maybe you're just taking something that's super melodic, like a triad.
Yeah.
And or even both is even better. Then it won't feel as out. Like, the harmony's out, but the melody and the rhythm are so in.
I think the triad is a great suggestion. And Troy, you should try that. Troy, you should try the triad.
Come on, Troy. Triple T it. Come on, man.
Because it does give it like immediate structure,
Yeah.
To whatever line you're doing. And string together a couple of out triads, and all of a sudden you sound like you know what you're doing, and do it confidently.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
Well, this is good. So if you guys, anybody else has some ideas on this, we'd love to hear it. Let's talk about it.
Where would we direct them?
We would direct them to youtube.com, because we're trying to help out the good folks at Google build up their little website over there.
I was going to say YouTube. Is this a new website?
It's relatively new.
So it's HTTP.
colon.
Colon.
Hit us up on YouTube on the Open Studio. Just search Open Studio. you'll hear it, and you can see today's episode. You can see it, but you can also just go on there and comment. If you've already listened, no requirement to watch, but we'd love to hear your ideas on this.
That's right.
And then we can talk about them over there.
And until then,
you'll hear it.